Once again, it's Friday. Let's form check. Hey guys, welcome back to another Form Check Friday. I'm Paul. There's Clint. Excited to be here. A couple quick announcements before we get into your technical form reviews. We are doing our first episode of Form Check Friday on Circle, our private platform, free to join. Obviously, if you posted, you're aware of it, but we are trying to move off of Reddit onto our own thing. And you can go to community.hornstrength.com. You can sign up for free. And this is where the Form Check Friday thing's going to be from now on. The submission thread will be here every week. So on Wednesdays, you can log in and post a video, and then, this is where the discussion will be. It's been going great so far. It's a lot cleaner than Reddit, and it's a lot easier to manage notifications, and I don't know, there's just not as much mess. So I'm enjoying it. Seems like the members are enjoying it too. You can use your real name instead of some weird Reddit name. So it's going well. We're also doing our summer fat loss challenge. We started Monday was the first weigh-in, and you can see over here, we've got the summer fat loss challenge space. So if you guys want to join, it's just an accountability thing. You check in every Monday. You talk about how much weight you gained or lost, what you learned, whatever. And we're just doing it together. So I will get that updated with our spreadsheet that tracks like the leaderboard this weekend, probably tomorrow. And we'll just keep going with the fat loss for the summer. So in the meantime, let's do some form checks. Thank you guys all for posting. As you know, I have not seen any of these. So let's see who is first. Oh, Dick. Okay. I think this must be in reverse order. So Dick got it. That's not what I want to say. Dick got his post in. That's also not what I want to say. All right. Anyway, let's review your form check. Okay. Hey Paul, help. My squat has gone to shit. This is a heavy week, but I can't do more than 172 kilos. When I was previously at 190, even that was crushing me. Honestly, felt like my back was going to snap. Trying to keep the elbows up, but it also felt so heavy. It was all I could do just to get it down and back up. Form felt terrible, and I bottled on rep 5. Is this because I'm doing a cut? I mean, maybe. It could also just mean you had a bad workout. They're not all killer workouts. You get, I think I wrote about this in my book, but there's a famous strength coach named Dan John who used to say that in any group of 5 workouts, you get one where you just feel like you're ready to take on the world's strongest man, just awesome workout. You get one where you're just embarrassed to be alive. It's so bad. And then you get 3 punch the clock workouts. They're not great. They're not bad. You just go in there, you get it done. And so you celebrate the good ones and you forget about the bad ones, and you just get in and do the punch the clock ones. Most of your training is sort of unremarkable. So I don't know. It could be because you're doing a cut. This is why we don't make any programming changes based on one workout. We always try again before we have to see whether or not it's a pattern. You don't have a problem until you have a pattern. So maybe you had an off day, who knows? But you just leave it in the gym. You don't worry about it. You don't let it get you down. You don't take it home with you, and you go in and you try again. If it's still a problem, now you have a pattern. Now you can figure out how to deal with it. So let's take a look and see. I think I have to copy. I don't know why this didn't turn into a link, but let's take a look. All right. All right, Dick, let's see the magic here, buddy. And kill the volume. All right, we'll watch a couple reps together and we'll see. I know, Dick, we were trying to get your elbows up a little bit. They were in the last couple episodes. That looks good right there. Just want a little bit more arch in the back, but not much. Okay, you're just trying to stay too vertical for too long. So chest up, elbows up, and then you're just gonna lean over. Better. Up. See how your back angle changes right here? See how you're leaning over at the bottom? So I'll slow this down so we can watch it together. But look at how upright you try and stay for the first half of the descent, and then once you cross the halfway point, you start leaning over. So this is you're upright, and then now you lean over, right? See, this is where I want you. This back angle, and now you're standing up too soon. But that's the back angle that you need to set. You're gonna assume most of the time, if the weight's heavy enough, you're gonna assume the correct back angle at some point because it's mechanically the most efficient. So you're just waiting too long to hit it. You're trying to stay too upright. I want you in this position by the halfway point. So by the time you're, let's see if I can pause it on time. By the time you're here, you should be done leaning over, right? And look at how upright you are. Okay, you're gonna go here, but you're here right now. So that's the problem. And now you're leaning over. So just think about it this way. I mean, I'm just gonna try and say this as many different ways as I can until something clicks. Most of the rep should be in that position where you are the most leaned over, right? That position, that back angle that you assume is the correct back angle for you. You want to spend as much time with that back angle as you can. So when you're vertical at the top, you want to get into that position as quickly as possible, meaning lean over right away as soon as you can. And then you want to hold it on the ascent so that the majority of the rep, you are in that position, right? If we look at your squat, you're spending most of your time not in that position. So you're upright until the very bottom. You got it flipped, right? So you're trying to stay vertical, and then now you hit it, and now you get out of it. So you're only spending, a third of the rep in the right position, and you're spending 2/3 of the rep out of that position, either trying to get back to vertical on the way up or trying to stay vertical on the way down. So you got to lean the hell over, man. Like, there it is right there. And if you set it, again, we've talked about this before. If you're finishing the lean as you approach the bottom and start driving up, you're going to go down, drop your chest, and then drive up and forward, and then lift your chest too soon because you can feel yourself shifting. You're like down and forward. You're getting on your toes. You better raise your chest so that you can save that bar from going over your head, right? So versus set it and then just cruise down and up in that groove and then stand up at the top. So vertical, right? Set it by the halfway point, hold it all the way down, hold it all the way up, and then when you get past the halfway point, you stand up. Versus this and this, okay? Waiting to lean over, finally leaning over, and then standing up too soon, okay? Get in the slot, and take it straight up and down. So that's your thing. You need to get more leaned over sooner. Just dive for the damn floor. Like, this is one of these things that, like, you're going to have to feel it. And when you do, you should end up at the bottom balanced. Like, just ready, like perfectly balanced, ready to just push up. Okay? So, still too vertical here. The first thing that happens is this. Just, you're touching your nipple here. Like 6 inches in front of the toe. This point points direct. Like, I had a client who was like, you should get like a laser level or like a laser pointer and put it on and tape it to someone's chest. So if you think about your sternum, it's pointing here. I want it pointing here as quickly as possible. In order to do that, you can't ride it down vertically. You've got to lean the hell over, shove your ass back, point your chest at the floor, and keep pointing that laser right at that point. Okay? That's it, man. You fix that, this thing's done. This thing will be solid. And again, maybe you just had an off day. In terms of why it felt hard, I don't know. It doesn't look different, like that different from your other reps, because I know we've been trying to work on this for a while, but so let's see how it feels next time before we worry about programming stuff. And that's it. Just point your chest at your toes, like in between your toes, right away. Okay? Work on it, keep going, and let me know. Post another video. But I want to see a video. I mean, I don't care if it's, what is it in kilos? 60 kilos. Just show me one where where your back angle does not change for 2/3 of the rep. You're holding this horizontal back angle, right? Like the halfway point down, the halfway point up, and then you're only changing it and becoming more vertical at the top. Okay? Get after it, buddy. All right. Next into the tank. Hey, Paul. First time posting. Welcome. I'm fighting with knee slide and 2 horizontal back for a long time. 2 horizontal. Okay, so different from Dick. I know I'm supposed to be more horizontal on the way down, but somehow I cannot manage more than in this video. Oh, and okay, well, we'll see. Some reps might be too high because I want to avoid too much knee slide, I think. All right, well, let's take a look and see what we see. All right, that's a big rack. Looks good so far. Stance is a little narrow. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay. Okay. First of all, calm down. You got too much energy here, too much frantic energy. Okay? So you got to get a little bit more zen. This is not a big deal. We're just lifting weights. You don't need to get super amped up for a set of 5. It's not a limit set. All right? So we want to deploy our effort, our intensity at very specific moments, and we want to relax during other moments, okay? Because if you're, and I've said this many times before, but if you're just like amped up the whole set, you're going to be exhausted by the 5th rep, okay? So when you don't need that intensity, calm down. just don't get loose, right? Like stay stable, stay tight, don't relax. But you don't need to get so amped up between reps and as you start the reps, right? Because like, think about when you need to hit it, turn it on, right? It's not really the way down. Gravity takes care of the way down. Your job is just to not get out of position, to keep things tight, to control the weight, you know, to stretch into the bottom. But that doesn't require a ton of like psych. You keep your knees shoved out, you get that little rebound at the bottom. That's a natural stretch reflex. It's just going to happen. It's right after that, when it's time to go, when it's time to drive and put some momentum on that bar to carry you through the sticking point, that you got to turn on the gas. So you want to be calm and controlled on the way down, hit the bounce, and then big burst of energy. And then you lock out at the top and you calm back down. You reset, okay? And then you let that little power meter recharge so that it's there when you hit the bottom, okay? Because you've got a lot of like jerky, frantic energy happening, and it's causing some issues that you're not going to be able to correct because you're so amped up here. So that's more of like a psychological thing, and it's very common. But let's talk about some technical stuff. So definitely got the bar in the right place. Now, I think your stance should probably be a little bit wider. This could be a camera angle thing. Let me watch a rep and see about your depth. Yeah, well, you're not hitting depth, but it's for a different reason. So your stance may be okay. This is a real hard thing to check on video because a lot of times the camera distorts things, but I think you could probably go a tiny bit wider. All right, let's get into the meat of this thing though. So that's okay that, you know, it's probably unnecessary, but it's not doing you any harm to be bouncing the bar around like that on your shoulders yet. But what I want you to pay attention to is what happens to your elbows, okay? See this forearm angle right here? Okay, watch your elbows as I hit play on this squat, okay? Watch how they move down and forward, okay? See that? Look at them now, okay? See how your elbow came down and forward as you were leaning over and squatting, okay? And look at this extension in your upper back here, okay? Right here. Now, look at it here. So I like this position here. And then, okay, fine. You got your upper back extension. I'm gonna slow this down a little bit so we can watch. And I want you to watch what's happening to your upper back as you squat. So first, you're unlocking I know you're trying to deal with the knee slide. And so you're abruptly jerking them out. Like if we watch your knees roll, see that? So I get what you're trying to do. We'll get that out of the way first, sorry. So the knees and the hips unlock at the same time, okay? So it's not knees first and then you lean over, and it's not lean over and then shove the knees forward. Knees go forward and out as you lean over, same time, okay? Because if you are here and you shoot your knees forward right away, when you go to lean over, they're gonna pull back, right? And if you do the opposite, you lean over first and then you stick your butt back first, and then you try and shove your knees forward, it's gonna make you more vertical, okay? So it has to be like, boom, okay? Together at the same time. You're here, lean over, knees forward and out, all right? So, but again, watch your upper back here. See that? See that? This is a very common thing. We've talked about it in previous episodes, but you're trying to get your back in extension as you're moving. So you get this flaring where you're here, and then as you go down, let me see if I can as you go down here, you're doing this. Okay, so you're trying to arch your back and pull your elbows down and tighten up your thoracic spine as you're moving. Okay, see, now look at your elbows, right? Now they've come down even more forward. And then as you drive up, they're down, and now they're coming back up, right? So the whole time you're squatting, you're doing this. You're trying to arch on the way down, right? Like get tight on the way down and then rounding on the way up. Okay, this flaring of the chest on the way down. That has to stop. Okay, so no movement from your head to your hip. This whole segment here, okay? This whole segment from your head to your hip, nothing in that segment moves at all once you start the descent. The only thing that happens with this part right here, right? It's a terrible box. Is it goes from vertical to horizontal. That's it, okay? You just lean over. But that segment does not deform at all. In other words, if you're gonna extend your upper back, right? If you're gonna get tight, get set, you do that before you lean over. You don't do it as you lean over. The elbows should not move at all, okay? So here to here, right? This just goes like that, okay? But it doesn't go, you don't lean over and flare your chest up at the same time, because now your elbows are moving, your back isn't locked, it's flexing and extending, right? And you're gonna dump the bar up, you're gonna kill your hip drive, your weight's gonna go forward, you're introducing all these variables because this segment here is not rigid, okay? I've said this before in another episode. Just imagine that this is just a block of plywood, okay? And it just goes from here to here. In other words, if you're gonna be, whatever position you start the rep in, let's go back. If this is the position, if you're tight here, you're ready to squat, your back should look, in your elbows, everything here, your head should look exactly the same as what I'm seeing here when you're at the bottom, okay? You should look, your arms should look your chest, everything should be locked and tight. It's just a matter of whether it's perfectly vertical or if you've leaned over. But within the segment, it should look identical, okay? Now let's look at the bottom. So there's the top, and there's the bottom. Now it does not look the same, right? Your arm, your wrists have bent, the bar's rolled back, you've scooped your elbows underneath in an effort to try and extend your upper back and get that tight, okay? And now your butt's shooting back, the upper back is soft, the elbows are down here, okay? So this is the main thing you need to fix, okay? If that's the position you want right here, which is fine, this looks good, just lean over, okay? That's all you do is just lean over. The way that you're gonna practice this is with pause squats, okay? So if you go to hornstrength.com/videos and you come down here to pause squats, click on that, it'll take you to YouTube. Oops, I got some music. And in the description for YouTube, you're gonna see all the instructions, okay? But all you're gonna do is go down and pause, okay? You're just gonna lean over, go down and pause for 3 seconds. And in your case in particular, you're gonna ask yourself, you're gonna check your upper back position. Did anything move? And you can ignore my elbows because my shoulders are really flexible up there and they're way too high for most people. But when you're down there and pausing for 3 seconds, you're gonna ask yourself, you're gonna check if anything has deformed, if the elbows came down, if you're in the same position. And if you're not, fix it, feel it, and then come back up, okay? But that, everything else, every other problem that you're having is stemming from the fact that you are deforming under load. Okay, you are not rigid in that segment. So my advice is when you're unracking the bar, right? When the bar is in the hooks, okay? And you're taking it out, this is where you set your upper back. So however much you want it arched, you know, do it when it's not even, the load isn't even on your back. Just get where you want. Okay, like tight like that. Take a little bit more time to set that, right? Figure out exactly where you want it. Set the upper back, and then that's it. You never let it go. You just hold this position the whole time. Okay? And then, yeah. You're not trying to tighten anything. You've already tightened it. Okay, you're not flaring your chest up. All right? So that's your assignment. We're gonna do pause squats. You can do them with lightweight. You can do them as a warm-up for every time you squat, do them as a warm-up. So empty bar, first set or two with weight. I always pause them just to remind myself what the bottom position feels like. And then you can start working up in normal weight. And if you have a light squat day, you can swap those out for pause squats and just practice feeling the bottom position, making sure it's exactly like the top position. Okay, it feels exactly the same. All right, good, man. Work on that, work on pause squats. Make sure, this is the rule, make sure it looks like it does at the top at the bottom. If it does, everything else is gonna fall into place. So work on that stuff and then get me another video and let's keep working on it. All right, we've got Luke. Luke, Paul, here's my deadlift to make sure I haven't had any form creep. Looking closer to my feet has helped in setting my back harder. Okay, let's take a look. Checking on Luke. I've got, oh, come on. Where's the video? Nope, that's not what I want. Not available anymore. All right, man. Well, that's a bust. Guess we'll try it next time, or let's just assume it was perfect. All right, let's move on. Jack, squat update. Last time you recommended that I narrow my stance a touch. Try not to stay on my heels too much and shove my knees out. I think that has helped with what I thought looked like a little, preference for my right leg. Okay, what was more obvious on the video than perhaps last time is that I'm dropping my right shoulder and elbow. Am I losing tightness in my upper back, or is there another potential cause I'm not thinking of? Anything else I'm missing? Okay, let's take a look. Get rid of these. All right. Dude, those are great. Slow it down a little bit. You don't want to fall that quickly. Okay, you want to fight it down. Control it on the way down so that if you drop, you're loose. And then you have to retighten. So you want to think about stretching into the bottom. You control it down. Yeah, so you're just losing a little bit of tightness. Like think about, if you're pulling back on a slingshot, stretching out that rubber band and then you're going to fire. It gets harder and slower to pull it further and further back because of all the tension, right? So same thing here. As you descend into the squat, you're stretching out the muscle mass in your legs and your posterior chain. As that stretches, you want that to be, the movement should almost slow down, okay? So fight it on the way down. And if you drop quickly, aside from being loose, it's like you're gonna hit and then all of a sudden you're gonna bounce and you don't have the tightness to control it. So you might bounce forward, you might bounce back, you might shift, versus the goal being of the descent is just to end up in the perfect balanced bottom position. Okay, so you wanna, don't go too slow because you're gonna waste energy, but the more control you have on that descent, the more you can make these little micro adjustments that make sure that you're balanced at the bottom, ready to drive up in a straight line. Okay, so that's my little rant on that. Let's go back and watch from the beginning. Stance looks good. Arms look good. Yeah. I think you probably need to lean over a little bit more aggressively. And that's hard to do when you're dropping that quickly. What happened on that one? A little shift back. Oh, you're going to do another one. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you can see that your weight is shifting back to your heels and then you're lifting your chest. So you're kind of pushing up and back. So I really think this is just a matter of getting your back angle set a little sooner, like we were talking about in one of the other form check videos, right? I think it was Dick. He's trying to stay a little too horizontal. You want that back angle set by the halfway point, right? So whatever back angle you're going to have on the way, on the way up, you want to hit that point by the halfway point of the way down. You want that angle set by the halfway point. And just because you're dropping so quickly, right? So there's the back angle. That's a little bit lower than the halfway point. And then, see, yeah, this is when you're lifting your chest too soon to save it. Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty clean rep. Just got this little shift. Yeah, you can even see your toes coming up a little bit. Yeah, so make sure, so this is a balance issue. So pause squats are going to be useful for you too. I mean, it's a back angle and balance issue. So the first thing is slow it down. Make sure you're fully leaned over by the halfway point. When you hit the bottom and you start driving up, keep some weight on the balls of your feet, right? Don't shift back to your heels and push your hips back and up, because as that shifts back, you're going to stick and then you're going to lift your chest too soon. So you need a little bit more weight on the toes on the drive up. So you can overcorrect and just think like, I'm going to push as I start the ascent, I'm going to make sure there's pressure on the balls of my feet, or you can think I'm going to drive through my toes a little bit more than I'm doing. But adding some pause squats for your warm-ups, you go down, you pause for a couple seconds, but in that pause, you check the weight on your foot, make sure you're not too much on your toes, you're not too much on your heels, you're balanced. If you get to the bottom and pause for 3 seconds and realize that your weight's too far back on your heels, rock forward a little bit, feel it, and then come back up. And just drill those pause squats. I know I just mentioned this in the previous one, hornstrength.com/videos and pause squat. Okay, instructions are on YouTube down here for what to do, when to add them. But I think those will be useful as just a warm up for you. So it's really just making sure that you're balanced at the bottom and that you've set the back angle by the halfway point. So you're done. You got the back angle set, you got the balance set, the knees are out. And as you drive up, you're going to keep some of that weight on the toes. So it's not shifting. I mean, obviously we want it balanced, but if you're heel dominant, I want you to think about a little bit more pressure on the balls of the feet. And if you just slow down the descent a little bit, I think you'll be good. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, these are great squats. You just need a little bit, you're just loosening up a little bit too much on the way down, dropping that quickly, and it's just kind of throwing you off. Okay, so control the descent. Let's see, you know what? I'll give you my little demo of, where's my man Josh? Let's look at how the speed that Josh takes it down then. All right, let's look at his cadence with 415. Set, watch the control, right? And then boom, fires it up. Okay, so you see how slowly he's going? He's fighting it so that he ends up perfectly balanced and then he comes back up, right? It's very controlled on the way down. And notice how quickly he leaned over on that one, right? Watch how quickly he sets his back angle. Boom, he's set. And it never changes. So by the halfway point, he's set, and it never, right? It doesn't change till he gets back up to the top. So watch that, adopt that cadence. I mean, he's got a lot of weight, so he's probably going slower than you need to, but that's the idea. Tight, control, balance, and then explode. Okay? Cool, let me make sure I hit all your questions. Last time you recommended I narrow my stance a touch, try not to stay on my heels too much. Okay, so obviously we talked about this before. Don't worry about your elbow. You shouldn't be thinking about your shoulders or elbows at all. They're fine. And if we're seeing it, it's just because of you're trying to break through a sticking point and kind of shifting around. But that'll go away when you fix the balance. You're not losing tightness in your upper back. It's just, this is just, you're hitting a sticking point that you don't need to hit, and it's causing you to react and lift your chest too soon and make all these corrections that you won't need to make if you fix the bigger problem. So listen to this again, review the notes, work on it, add some pause squats, and let's take another look. But overall, that was a lot of notes, but overall, these are very good. So it's just about polishing. All right, man. Thank you. And we'll see another one. Okay, Jay. What do we got from Jay here? Hey, Paul, I am posting a squat and deadlift video, squat 135. I'm keeping it lighter until I feel more comfortable. I've slowly increased the weight, but I started making bigger jumps. Wanted the coach's eye. Got a feeling these aren't great. Let's take a look. All right, let's see. Back under the barbell. A little too narrow on the stance there. Oh. Okay. All right, so a couple things. You're taking way too long to lean over, all right? So notice how long it takes you to set the back angle, still leaning, and then you get out of it right away. So this is exactly the same issue that we were having. See, you're leaning over all the way down, okay? So instead, I want you, if this is the back angle, and this is the same form check that I did at the beginning of this episode. So go watch Dick's form check because it's the same problem. Let's see where you end up. Okay, that's the back angle that you want, that one at the bottom. You need to set it by the time you're halfway down, okay? So this is where you're gonna go. I want you there by the halfway point. So widen your stance a little bit, and then see, upright. Now you're leaning over, still leaning over. And so you basically hit your back angle like almost at the, like there you finally got it. And you're below the halfway point. So you're just trying to stay too upright for too long. Okay, so dive for the floor. Okay, think about stamping your sternum right here, right between your feet. All right, right away, the first thing that happens is you're going to touch this point to this point. Okay, so you can't do that if you're riding it down and pointing your chest. Right, so if we take it down, right, now we're pointing kind of here, and if we take it down again, we're pointing, now we're getting a little bit better. Now we're pointing kind of here, but I want you pointing here, okay? So first thing that happens when you start squatting, lean over and shove the knees out, okay? Those two things happen at the same time. You lean over and you shove the knees out like this, all in one motion. And you get your nipples pointed directly down. And then you just ride that down because you set it at the halfway point, and then you just ride it down and you ride it up. And then this brings me to the second point, which is now that you've set it early and you're going to ride it down in the groove, you're going to ride it up in the groove. So you're going to hang on to that back angle until you get back to the top or close to the top where you set it in the first place, and then stand up. And what you're doing is taking the whole time to actually set it and then immediately standing back up and getting out of that back angle. So if we watch when you get to the bottom, okay, now we're in the right back angle, and I want you to drive up and hold it as high up as you can. But you're just gonna stand up and throw your shoulders back. See that? Now you're already out of it, okay? So lean over on the way down right away and stay leaned over on the way up for as long as you can. Lean over right away and then stay leaned over as long as you can. So you should, by the halfway point of the descent, you should be set, meaning as leaned over as you're ever gonna be. And you should hold on to that angle until you get back to the halfway point. Okay, and then you can start lifting your chest. Because as soon as you start lifting your chest, you kill your hip drive, right? So instead of just opening up your hips, right? This angle just this way, which is what you're doing now, you maintain this angle and you drive this up, okay? You lead with your butt, hip drive, okay? Boom, just a little, right? So after that initial pop of the hips, right, then the angle locks back in and then you stand up at the top. So you lean over, and the first thing I should see move out of the bottom is your butt leads you up. Right now it's this. Right now you're just opening up your hips. I want to see you pop your hips, ride it all the way up, and then stand up at the top. Okay? Lean over on the way down, stay leaned over longer on the way up, lead out of the bottom with your hips, drive your ass up. All right, let's take a look at the other one, your deadlift. Been adding 5 pounds every time for my back to get used to it. With my back catching up, remembering how to do it. From my perspective, I felt like my back could have been flatter, but I need a coach's eye. Usually it could be flatter. All right. Oh, it's not bad. Yeah. Yeah, these aren't bad, man. A couple minor tweaks though. So first of all, you want to, so when you lean over, you keep your knees locked. As you keep your legs as straight as you can, okay? And then you bend your knees. All right, what you should do is go to, where's my thing? HORNSTRENGTH.com/videos, okay? And you need to watch the deadlift, how to deadlift, and watch the starting strength video because it'll walk you through the 5 steps. There's an order so that you end up in the right place. Okay, there's 5 steps to it. You put the bar, you walk up, put the bar right over the middle of your foot. Then you lean over and grab the bar, but you keep your legs as straight as possible. Then once the bar's over the middle of your foot and you've got your hands on it, then you bend your knees just enough to touch the bar and your hips will be in the right place. If you do it the way you're doing it, you're going to end up squatting. You're going to end up with your butt too low, basically trying to turn the deadlift into a squat. Okay, so if you just go over the 5-step procedure, ingrain that in your head, you will end up in the correct deadlift position. So you're a little bit too squatty. I think you need to shove your butt up a little higher. Okay, so instead of being like this, you're probably going to end up, that's like parallel, never mind. You're probably going to end up like maybe like this with your butt just a little bit higher. Okay, this angle is going to open up a little bit between your knee angle. So instead of being here, you'll probably be like that. That'll be a more efficient pulling position because right now you're probably bumping the bar a little bit forward to the midfoot. Okay, so again, go over that 5-step setup procedure. Don't ignore it. Learn it perfectly, one step at a time, and you will figure out where the correct hip height is. Because if the hips are in the wrong position, the whole thing is going to be wrong. So the trick is if you don't feel a stretch behind your knees here, if you don't feel a tug, tension behind the knees, your butt's probably a little too low. So I think you need to shoot your butt up a little bit until you feel that tension. That's what you're looking for. Okay. And then, I mean, that the pull is pretty clean. In terms of setting your back, it could be flatter. It's not bad. But the main thing is where you think about the extension. So when I see the movement, it's all happening up here, right? In your upper back, like mid upper back. What we really need is for the low back to be extended, okay? So we cue squeezing the chest up because usually that sends a wave of extension all the way down the spine. But sometimes, and we had this happen in the last episode, when you squeeze your chest up, all we see is movement up here and it's just quiet down here. Really, we don't care about the upper back tightness that much. What we want to do is lock your lumbar spine down here. So this is the area that we're focusing on. Okay, it's not just upper back, it's getting your lower back set too. So you want to think about, once the hips are a little bit higher, squeeze the chest up, right? You're going to rotate point your nipples up at the wall, and you're gonna point your butt. Your hip pointers are down here, like the sit bones. If you reach under your butt, you can feel the bones back here. Right now they're pointed down here. When you try and, at the same time you're squeezing your chest up, you're also trying to rotate those, not hip pointers, but it's the bottom of your pelvis, your ischial tuberosity. But those pointing down here, you want to try and point them up there. So basically you're going to stick your ass out, right? We're trying to tilt your pelvis so that you're pointing it up here. Okay. So you're pointing your butt up there and your chest up there. And the change is that when you do both those things, your back turns into a U. Okay. And there's a video of me doing an exercise where you can practice this. And I mean, I can just show you because what the hell, we're here. But what you want to do is get in your deadlift stance, put your hands below your knees like this with your arms straight. And then you can do this in the mirror and watch your low back. And you're going to push on your knees. And we're going from round, okay? And you're trying to tilt your pelvis to get your lumbar, there, let's see, there, to get my low back set. So I'm round and I'm locked, and I'm round and I'm locked. And it's all down here. It's not this, right? Okay, because I can get some wrinkles in my t-shirt there, but nothing's happening down here. So practice this. Just go from like this position, push, and just watch in the mirror until you figure out how to turn these lumbar spinal erectors on, okay? And feel that sensation. Pay attention to what it feels like, what you're thinking about when you make your back do that. And then the difference between pushing on your knees, like we were just doing, when you go to deadlift, you just push the bar into your shins, but it's the same thing. And you're looking for that same sensation down here, okay? So watch the video, do the 5-step deadlift procedure. So your hips are going to end up a little higher. Follow it exactly. And then work on extending your low back. And yeah. And I think it's a good start, man. Like these look decent. We're just kind of fine tuning here. So, all right, guys, let's wrap it up. Thank you very much for the inaugural Not on Reddit Form Check Friday. Super fun. And we'll do it again next week. Thank you guys for being a part of it. And yeah, I'll see you in the comments, and I'll see you guys on for the Fat Loss Challenge on Monday for the next check-in. I think it's a holiday weekend, right? So maybe we'll, check in before you go eat hot dogs. Yeah. All right, guys. See you soon. Thanks.